All right, hello, welcome in. This is the Game of Thrones series finale pre-show with Dem Thrones Boys. Rich Keefe here. Ryan Davey has to attend to some business right now. Don't worry, he will be a part of the post-show. But we got our guy Chris Shime time. Baby, what's up, Shime?
What's going on? Hey, hi, howdy. How we doing, Keith?
I'll tell you what, I'm a little nervous. I feel like a lot
Oh,
of people right around this time are a little nervous about what's gonna happen. We've been doing breakdown episodes for every episode, and I would say we are, if you're looking at everybody on the internet who talks about Game of Thrones, we are certainly on the more positive side. We know that it's not a perfect season, but there are people who fucking hate it, and I'm not one of these sign a petition people.
yeah. Those
That
people are nuts.
that seems insane to me. But my point is, because this is the finale, this is the last 80 minutes we're ever going to see of Game of Thrones, there is a real chance that we're going to be let down when this thing is over, right?
100%. And I can guarantee that I think you're going to see the most viral reaction from people after this episode. It's going to be, they're going to loathe the creators. I can just sense it. Like my spidey sense is going off that people are going to lose their effing minds
Yeah.
because they think this season wasn't that great and it didn't end the right way and all this stuff. And they have to understand that, yeah, it may not be to what we expected, but at the same time, there were good moments to this season.
Yeah, there was. And I also think going in, what were the chances that 6 episodes was going to be able to give everybody a satisfying conclusion? Like, I think
I don't
that
think
was
anybody
tough.
expected that.
Yeah.
We even said it before the season started. You asked me, you said, do you think six episodes is enough? And I said, personally, I don't. I think they would have been better off with 8 or even 10. I think they could have done this. I think you could have broken up an episode like The Long Night into 2 episodes. But overall, ultimately, they decided to go with 6 episodes. And I think it has hurt them a little bit, but at the same time, it's still one of the best shows on TV.
Biggest criticisms so far, would it be fair to say the episode 3, or just, I guess, sort of the attack of the Night King being just one episode, like 7 seasons of buildup, then it's one episode, then he's dead. We don't really know much more about him, and that was it. Also, Cersei dying in the manner that Cersei died in, and then also Dany. Not that she became the Mad Queen, because I think a lot of people thought that could happen, and frankly, I think that's a good arc for the character, but just sort of how it happened. I feel like those 3 things, Night King, Cersei, Dany, are what people are most pissed about.
I would say you're absolutely right. And I think people don't deserve to be mad about Dany. Like they have been teasing this since the beginning of the show that she teeters on the edge of good and mad. And so for them to finally force her into the madness is probably the direction that they ultimately wanted to go from the very beginning. So I think people have misplaced their anger in that regard, but I understand. I felt like the Night King, his arc, the end to his arc was very underwhelming. We didn't know much about him. We didn't have a reason, and he was just kind of dead. Same thing with Cersei. I felt like they did a bad job with killing their villains. They did a great job with killing Ramsay, and since then they've done a really bad job at killing their villains. And making them go out in a way we were happy with, in a way that gave us closure. And I felt like they just haven't done that. But I think this Dany going mad thing, I think people have to realize that this has been in the works since the beginning. This is one of the few storylines that has paid off through 8 seasons.
Yeah, and I think really it was, Missandei going, which was really sort of a breaking point for her. Obviously she'd lost 2 dragons now, and Missandei, Jorah, like all that stuff. And plus, how many people have we seen her burn to death? I feel like a lot of people she has burned to death. And like the Tarleys was one. And I know what some people would say is, well, hey, that's, those people wouldn't bend the knee. And like, it's different than like these innocents. It's like, yes and no. I mean, it is different, but it's kind of connecting those dots. Like, it's like, what's the next thing? And if you push her far enough, this is what was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think, like, what do you mean? Like, we watched her burn Sam's dad and older brother alive right in front of her just because they wouldn't bend the knee. We saw her burn down an entire city after gaining the Unsullied and just wreck the entire city. We saw her like crucify people because they crucified people to try and deter her from coming to their city. And so when she got there, she took the slave masters and she crucified all of them. Like, this is a woman who has always been capable of cruelty and has teetered on madness, but her advisors have always been able to kind of tone her back. But now she doesn't feel like she has anybody to trust, and so there's nobody to hold her back.
Now that you've had a week to look back on the episode, The Bells, episode 5, how do you feel? Anything different? Do you like it more? Do you like it less? About the same?
I think it was without question the best episode of the season. I think you got the two moments that paid off properly in the Clegane Bowl and in Dany losing her shit. And I think realistically, it was the best episode of the season without a question.
I liked episode 2. I know the first 2 episodes were sort of like, all right, we're just moving the pieces on the board type of thing. But I did like episode 2 a lot. Episode 3, man, it was tough. I certainly don't hate it as much as some people do, but it was kind of just convenient, right? Like just the way the whole thing was able to come together. So I'm with you. Overall I enjoyed episode 5. Clegane Bowl is definitely one of the highlights. Like when we look back on the 6 episodes, that is going to be one of the moments, fight scenes, whatever, that we like. All right, Sean, here's my unofficial list of who has been killed, died, or whatever so far this season. All right.
Okay.
No particular, I'll go by episode, but no particular order within said episode. But these characters died in episode 3. The Night King, Beric Dondarrion, Theon Greyjoy, Melisandre, Jorah Mormont, Little Lady Mormont, Ed from the Night's Watch, and the Ice Dragon, Viserion. Episode 4, Rhaegal, the other dragon, one of the 2 live dragons, and Missandei, beheaded by the Mountain. And then episode 5, the Hound and the Mountain both died in glorious fashion. Jaime and Cersei Lannister, not so glorious fashion. Varys, Euron Greyjoy, and Qyburn, who, again, you would have to check the goddamn roster to find that guy's name.
And I guess we can throw in Homeless Harry and the Golden Company, but they were more useless than one-ply toilet paper. So
they were tough. They did not really do all that well. Now, let me ask you, out of all of those names that I just mentioned, do you think any of them are not actually dead?
If I had to bet on anybody, I'd say it's the Mountain, just because he's a zombie already.
True, he's a tough guy to kill.
But I don't think, like, if they try and pay off that Cersei or Jaime is still alive, I'm gonna be a little bit confused and miffed, if you will.
I'll tell you, that's some of the scuttlebutt. That's some of the internet scuttlebutt, is that Cersei is still alive.
Well, so the internet scuttlebutt has been very bothersome to me, because I feel like at the beginning of the season, I kept seeing Peter Baelish on everybody's Who Will Sit the Iron Throne odds, and guys, he's still dead.
Yeah, I don't love his chances. We saw him die on screen in spectacular fashion.
Exactly, and yet, he's still on the leaderboard. I don't get it. But so I of course there's going to be scuttlebutt. Everybody wants to have theories because they want more spectacular fashions. That's what they want. They want to be just absolutely shocked and be like, I didn't see that coming. And ultimately, I don't think they're going to do that at this point.
Yeah, no, I know. And then also what's interesting too is they film these all together. So it's not like they can have an episode 1, gauge the reaction to it, and then pivot from there.
Exactly.
I mean, that's obvious, but like, some shows, I guess, maybe could do that. Or like, like wrestling, for example. Like wrestling can sort of get the sense of what the crowd is feeling and go, oh shit, we better change this. Whereas this is done. They already finished this a while ago. This is what we're gonna see. So I'm with you. I think most of these characters are for sure dead. Like I'd have a hard time thinking any of them could come back. Oh, another thing from the last episode that we didn't hit on in our recap, which we did immediately after, and we're going to be doing the recap for this one too. So join us right after the episode, probably around 10:25 or so. We will have the reaction, raw and uncut, Shime. But
always,
we didn't talk about this. So Varys, we knew, was writing messages and he was trying to let everybody know about Jon Snow's heritage. But what we didn't really pick up on, or at least we didn't discuss it, was he was actually trying to have Dany poisoned.
Yeah, so he was going all out.
Yeah, like he was for sure trying to, because at first you're like, oh wow, like she's gonna kill him for the messages, which I think she would have anyway. Like that's deserving of killing him. But the fact that he was talking to that little girl, like, oh, she's not eating, try again at dinner, that was sort of tipped everybody off that he was trying to poison her, and that's gonna get you burned every time.
Yeah, that is clear treason. That's not just writing letters to tell people who Jon Snow actually is. You're literally committing treason.
Yeah. All right, so do we think that Dany, who has now gone mad, survives this episode and the series?
I say absolutely not. I don't think you can. Like, the heel turn has happened. The people are against her. She just fucking killed. There are literally over 1 million people in King's Landing, and she slaughtered close to 90+% of them. Like, we thought about, would more than 1,000 people die in the last episode, and we cleared that number in spades.
Oh, terrible number. Terrible, terrible number. It was way, 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 way over that. I'm with you. There's no chance Dany makes it through the episode. So the more important question, I guess, Shine, would be who kills Daenerys Targaryen?
So there's a couple things, there's a couple ideas, a couple ways they could go. One of which I really like, but I don't think is very plausible, which is Arya kills her, and then Jon is forced to kill his sister because she committed regicide. That's
Ooh,
kind of how the story ends.
come
I
on.
really love how that sounds. I think that's a really unique way to go about this. Ultimately, I don't think that's how it's going to be. I think it's going
Oh,
to
that'd be
be,
so messed up if they did
that
that. If
would
they
be
had Jon
so
do that,
dope.
oh my God. I
I
just
think,
think before we finish on who you think's gonna kill Dany, the point too is there are so many people who want like a happy ending, or at least the
Mhm.
happiest possible ending. But then there are also a lot of fans, and I might be in this category, where Game of Thrones shouldn't have a happy ending. Like that's
Yeah.
not how it should go. So like an unhappy ending, I would be satisfied with. So right away, you're splitting the fans down the middle, like how angry they're gonna be.
But
Like
like
it
that's what you
almost doesn't
need.
matter. Yeah, it's just
this
they're in a
this
tough spot.
story was based
Yeah.
on the evolution of like human emotion and the human heart, and so ultimately things never end fairy tales and roses. Like that's not how it happens. It's not going to be rainbows and sunshine tomorrow. There's going to be another dreary rainy day, and some people will have survived and some people will have died. It's going to be bittersweet.
Yeah. So I also my working theory going into this season was that maybe Jamie Lannister was gonna kill Dany, and then therefore the Kingslayer could also be the Queenslayer. Either that or he was gonna kill Cersei, and that looks
Mhm.
like neither of those things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think
It's
Arya could kill Dany, but I forget if it was you or Rickon von Dickon who said she killed the Night King. That's a baller kill. That's a hard kill to
You can't
top.
give her all the big time kills. Yeah,
Right.
that would be a Rhaegon von Dagon statement.
And I think it's a pretty good thought. Like that's a lot. Like it's pardon the word choice, but it's like overkill for like one character to just
Yeah.
wipe everybody out. So I think it points to Jon Snow. Jon Snow didn't get to kill the Night King, and so it may have to be Dany. Like he's already. I mean, after the last episode, he knows that she is not the right person to be in charge,
He is damn certain of that.
and so now, do you think they're gonna have a conversation, or like, is it just gonna be if they see each other, it's gonna be like on?
Um, I think they're gonna talk first. I don't think that he can just walk in and just like be like, "All right, Danny, like put up your dukes. I'm taking you down." I think it's gonna be much more. This show has been very political. It's very chess piece movie kind of way to act, and I think John is gonna take that approach. He's not gonna overreact. He's gonna confront Danny. He's gonna say things to her, and when he realizes she'll never budge and he's never gonna get back into her head, I think that's when he'll decide he has to do this.
So we also have Sansa still remaining, and I think she is again the idea of anybody ruling in King's Landing. And I know you didn't think there's going to be one person on the Iron Throne the whole time, and now it really looks like, and they got to rebuild that whole city
Yeah.
at this point. So the like leadership is going to be different. They're going to figure out a different way to rule over all the kingdoms. But I think Sansa has proven this whole season that she's probably the smartest person left, and she still obviously has a money name. She's still a Stark and all of that. So it's lining up like she's going to be in charge.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know. It's so tough to kind of figure out at this point what they want to do. I think there's so many unique approaches that they could take, and the issue is the storytelling has been all over the map this season, and ultimately it's going to come down to a spot where they're unpredictable at this point. Like they could go a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to see it coming. I could see, like I said, I could see Arya killing Dany and Jon being forced to kill her. I could see something like Jon and Davos confronting Dany and Davos taking the fall for killing Dany, but Jon actually doing it just so that the people don't think that Jon killed the queen. And then Jon rules and he hates himself for the rest of his life, but he rules nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, and then at the same time, I can also see Jon, after having killed Dany, go back to the wall and hang out with Tormund and get drunk all the time, and Tyrion and Sansa are left to pick up the pieces.
All right, so taking a look at the chat right now, Jay Roy asking us some good questions here. This episode, will we see any of the following characters? Tormund, Brienne, Ghost, Gendry, Sam, Gilly.
I think no on Tormund. Unfortunately, Tormund and Ghost, I want to see them so bad, but I don't think you're gonna. Brienne, I kind of expect to make an appearance.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked if she's not. I don't think you see Gendry. And I think if you see Sam and or Gilly, you see them at the very end, and it's basically just Sam telling the story.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be something that I think what a lot of shows that I like that have a decent enough conclusion, and it's hard to do. Like you look at series finales, but I think a show like this, and I don't know if everybody likes this, but the last like 5 minutes, everything is already settled, and then you just kind of whip around to all the characters as to what they're doing like months from now. You know what I mean? Like I think even if it's just Tormund like setting up shop north of the wall, or Sam and Gilly like reading to their kid and like telling the kid about Jon Snow and like things like that.
Yeah, a nice little flash forward.
Yeah, and just to sort of like also it allows the viewer to sort of be like, all right, these are the characters that made it. You know, like just sort of like a one last head count for everybody.
Yeah, and I could see that happening, but at the same time, I feel like the Game of Thrones writers don't care if people are happy with it at this point.
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna be surprised if they just end it with something crazy, like somebody's dying, like somebody's head is on the block, and boom, that's how it ends. It's kind of similar to how it started. Like we watch as a wildling runs south of the wall, Ned catches him, you deserted your post at the Night's Watch or whatever, and boom, head comes off, and that's kind of how we end.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it definitely could. Now, we can all agree that any kind of it was just a dream would be the absolute worst case scenario.
Oh, dude, if you go Tommy Westfall on me, I'm going to lose my mind.
Absolute worst case scenario. Like as long as it's not a dream, you're already like one notch up of like what the ending could be.
Yeah, if this is like fucking Bill Simmons wakes up in his bed and goes, "Whoa, hun, I just had the craziest dream," I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah. Or even if it like reverts to episode like 1 and it's like Ned Stark is like still alive or something, and he's like, oh my God, like, I don't know, like you can't do that. You just
tell people about Jon or something stupid.
Absolutely can't do it.
Yeah.
What happens to Bran? Do we get anything with Bran this episode?
I hope not. I hope he's done. I don't want to see him. He just creeps me out. And I'm so sick and tired of all, like, again, I'm going to take my shot at the odds makers. I'm so sick and tired of them having Bran as the favorite because it doesn't make any sense. What does that pay off by putting this kid on the seat, on the chair, like in the throne?
It doesn't.
Nothing. It gives you nothing.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody's happy with that.
No.
Like, sure, he can be an advisor, or he can go sit up intertwined with the roots of some giant weirwood tree and stay high all the time. Go for it. I don't care. But if he sits on the throne, that's just, to me, that's such a dumb cop-out ending.
I need to go now. I don't do the Bran as well as Davey does.
You are a great man, Theon. Don't worry. You are home. I need to go now.
It's definitely the stairs that makes it. It's not even the voice. It's the stare that does it.
It's so bad.
So does Bran live through this?
I say yeah.
I think probably so. So we both think Dany goes. We both think Sansa lives.
Definitely.
Arya?
I'm gonna say dead.
Oh.
It kills me to say it. I hope that like the final scene of her is her on some boat with random people just sailing off into no man's land just to explore the world. But ultimately, I think we might see her die.
Man, I think she makes it. I do. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna see like Jagan Hagar again, or like Syrio Forel, who might be the same person. Like, I don't think we're gonna get to that, unfortunately, because there's like a whole other story that could be unpacked there. Does Jon Snow make it?
I say yes.
I say no, because that would fall into the happy end. I think the happiest of endings for people now, like now that you had to reset what you were thinking ahead of time, the happiest endings of all would be if Arya, Jon, Sansa, and Tyrion were all alive and we're all working together and we're all in power and we're all happy. That would be like
That'd be such a stupid ending
That'd be so
at this
dumb. And
point.
that's why I think
Yeah.
even like those four, like all four of them can't make it.
Yeah, I think Danny's definitely out, and I think there's a good chance. I've been swaying back and forth on this a lot lately. I think ultimately there's a really good chance Tyrion dies too. Just because I
Yep.
just feel like his usefulness is wearing out. Like he was this great, clever mind, and as he's shown lately, it's just he hasn't been very smart
No,
with his
he is not.
decisions.
He is on a real losing streak. Now, he is also the only remaining Lannister, which is kind of a surprise.
When what happens if he dies and there's basically the next
Braun gets
Lannister is
all the
probably
stuff.
their
It's all Braun.
third cousin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Braun goes takes over Casterly Rock.
Did we see Braun this episode? I don't
Uh,
know.
I don't know.
Let me
I
a-
say
let
doubtful.
me ask you this: did we see Dario Naharis?
Absolutely not.
Ah,
I'm
Jesus.
sorry to ruin your day, Keith,
Come
but I'm gonna say
on,
absolutely
guys.
not.
Good Lord.
It's tough. That's a tough go.
Does Grey Worm live? And if not, who kills him?
I say definitely doesn't live. I think that's an Arya kill. It's a big enough name where it's impactful, but it's
Yes.
not so big that it's like, wow, she gets all the big name kills.
I think it could also be a Jon Snow kill
Like a
because
one-on-one Grey Worm, Jon Snow,
yeah,
fucking battle to the death.
yes.
That'd be dope.
Like it's almost like in a video game, like before he can get to Danny, he has to defeat Grey Worm
Yeah,
and
you
then he
have to.
moves on.
Yeah, you have to beat the level
Yeah,
9 boss to get to the
yeah.
level 10.
Oh yeah, great. I mean, Grey Worm's no slouch, but he's not. Oh, one guy that I do hope survives is Davos. I'm rooting for Davos.
Me too. I'm definitely rooting for Davos. I think, and I saw a picture or something tweeted that said something along the lines that Davos is the only person to survive the Battle of Blackwater Bay, the Battle of the Bastards, and the Battle of the Long Night.
Wow,
So there you go. Davos survivor.
Davos is a survivor. Gendry, we probably don't even really see. Like they kind of
Maybe
wrote
at the
him
very
off,
end of
right?
the episode,
Yeah,
if anything.
he's like he's outside of Arya's house with a boombox above his head. It's just like
Come be with me.
she's like, get out of here, get out of my yard, like please, forget it.
We'll always love you.
Beautiful, just a beautiful song for
I say?
Gendry to sing. The whole thing would be good.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, the other one I guess would be if Danny dies, the poor Drogon has to probably die too.
The only cool thing that I can think of is if like Danny kills John and like John and Drogon have like a stare off and Drogon just kind of nods and flies away and goes and flies over like the Doom of Valyria, like we saw when Tyrion and Jorah were like boating through the Doom of Valyria. That's kind of where Drogon had gone when he left Danny.
Okay.
Maybe they let him just kind of go live his life.
Yeah, because like John could communicate with him, but I just think he's so attached to Danny that if anything
I think
happens
you're
to
probably
her,
right.
he's gonna lose his mind. Like he just killed thousands of people for her. Like, has
Yeah.
no, you know what I mean? Like
Maybe he just nosedives straight into the water and takes his own life.
he could.
That way, nobody has to kill him, and that way, we don't even ever know if he's ever actually dead.
Yeah, I just don't think he's gonna. Oh, what? So one of the rumors on the internet was like there might be more dragons. Like I hope there's not. Like I love dragons. You know me, I love dragons more than anybody.
Dude.
But you can't
Can we
just be
stop
like
with these?
like the
People need
internet.
to stop.
Let me tell you,
Like,
it's the internet.
I love a good theory, and I know Keith. Keith is the king of the Keithspiracies.
That's right. Bring them
So
on.
I get it, but dude, like these people need to chill out. Like this is not gonna end in some crazy awesome way. It's gonna end pragmatically and in a way that's way too laid out for all of us, and then you're gonna be mad at that.
Just like a team of dragons shows up, but they're all good guy dragons.
I still do want to see the wolf army where it's just like Ghost and Nymeria ride in with this pack of like 50 wolves. That'd be dope.
Dude. They used wolves.
Blew out way too many opportunities with that.
They didn't know what they were doing with the wolves, and like think about them. They established the wolves back in like episode 1, and now you're like, I don't know what to do with them. They're full grown and they're sweet, but we're gonna have them go away. Like we don't want
That
them to
makes
help
sense.
you.
Not too much of a CGI budget. Yeah, but we're just gonna have two dragons fight in the air for 5 minutes. That makes sense.
Yeah, which we could barely see. They just have them wrestle up top. You're like, what are they doing?
I would love to see all the, great ending for Drogon. Fucking pack of wolves comes out, mauls them to death.
Oh, that's true.
That'd be an epic. There you go. There's all your CGI money
Pack
that
of
they
wolves.
didn't have.
So I guess that's the other question is, okay, to this point, they're not going to make any more episodes, so the answer can't be 5 more hours or whatever. Based on what we know right now, is there any way that you would be happy at 10:30 tonight? And if so, what would have to happen?
Yes, there's a way. I think the only way at this point is that
The
the battle.
prostitute shows up to my house. No.
Keith. Shantam doesn't pay. They
That's
pay
right.
me.
That's right. Like George
Uh,
Costanza would say, it's like parking. If you
I'm
work
like
hard enough, you should get it for free.
I'm like Pod the Rod the God. All right, I don't pay for sex.
Too much. Too much.
Sorry.
We'll edit that
Right.
in post.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I think the way for it to end good for me, like for me to be happy at 10:30
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah.
is that I think John has to kill Dany. I think you have to, but you have to get fights that lead up to it. So I think you need like a square off, like you said, with Grey Worm. I think you need kind of like a Davos, John, and Arya kind of attacking into like Dany's throne room. They have to take down a couple Unsullied as well as Grey Worm. They finally get to Dany, but I think even maybe like twist it a little bit and have Tyrion kill her, kind of stab her in the back.
Oof.
While she faces Jon and Arya, and Tyrion look at Jon and says, "Somebody needed to lead this kingdom, and it's your job, not mine." And Tyrion is forced to be executed, and that's how it ends.
Interesting. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That could be something. Oh, I like Jay Page in the chat says an elephant's gonna show up and take down Drogon.
Fuck you, Cersei. We got the elephants we wanted.
If we get elephants now, man, then they're sticking it to Cersei more than you ever thought they could.
That'd be too good.
Holy
All right, Keith,
smokes.
how are you happy at the end of tonight?
Oh, it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know what they could do. I think there are more good characters left than bad characters, right? Like the true villains were obviously Cersei. I guess Euron Greyjoy would probably be considered a villain.
Yep.
Jaime was certainly on both sides of it.
The Night King.
The Night King.
The Mountain, I guess.
The Mountain might have been. Melisandre just kind of was. Like she was working both sides of it too, right?
She was more of that anti-hero kind of vibe.
Yeah. So really the main villain left is Dany, who just turned into a villain.
Yeah,
and
literally just turned heel last episode.
Like I don't see her ruling over. Like she had that. There's that scene. Was it last season of this with Olenna Martell?
Mm-hmm.
And she, Olenna Martell was like, you got to just you need people to like fear you or whatever, and like you need to go kick some ass. And she's like, well, I don't want to be the queen of the ashes. And then she just burned everybody down. So I don't know. Like again, I'm fascinated to see what they do. I'm looking forward to it. There's not like a simple answer to me though, and I think that's why they're in such a predicament that they're in. Like
they're in a tough spot.
They're in a real tough spot. I just think for like real loss. Again, the best, like the good guy, best characters are Arya, Sansa, Jon, and Tyrion. And I don't think all four of them should make it out. Like
no, I think 50% of them should make it out.
Two down, two to go. And like honestly, you could talk me into any combination of that, but two should go, two should live.
It should definitely all four should definitely not survive, and all four should definitely not die, because then I think you're left in a weird spot.
Oh, actually, if it was going to be a good finale, Dario Naharis and Jagan Hagar would show back up.
That makes sense.
That's
there
it.
You go.
That's all I need.
That's all you need.
That's really about it. All right, we got a couple minutes here because what we're going to do is we're not going to go right up until 9 because we want everybody to be able to get your food, your drink, your seat, get everything ready to go. Somebody asked me before about the Funko Pops. These are all the Thrones ones I have. So I got Arya, Night King, Bronn, Gendry, Ghost, Varys, Tyrion, Davos, and Jon Snow.
Attaboy.
Not bad. You. I'm a full-grown adult. What do you want me to do?
I have a Khal Drogo one somewhere in my closet. That's all I got.
Does he show up? Does Khal Drogo ride again?
I would be so happy.
Holy smokes.
That'd be lit AF, to quote the kids these days.
Mm-hmm. This is from Crafter Kinsey. I gotta say, I dislike this 8th season. I dislike the writing of almost all the characters, and I wish they would have had better character development.
I think that's kind of exactly what we've been saying. Like, I think
that sums up a lot of people's thoughts for sure.
I think a lot of people are just overreacting. They think like this 8th season is so bad because the story is so bad, and we have been the first to criticize them. But at the same time, they've done a lot of good things too. I think the cinematography this season has been some of the best you're ever going to see in television. Like Some of the scenes they shot, like that scene with Arya running through King's Landing, will quite possibly will never be topped. Like that was
Yeah, I
insane.
think it'll be really good, and I think so. What the plan is tonight is after the episode, right back here, we're gonna do our season or our episode, which will also be the season recap and our just immediate reactions. And then next week, we're gonna look back on all of season 8. And I think an interesting exercise will be best and worst moments, and then to see if you're kind of swayed one way or the other. Like,
Cool,
are
we
the
can.
worst moments really bad, or are the best moments? Do you sort of salvage it a little bit? And I mean, so much of it is going to come down to tonight too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like any show or like any sports team, if you end strong, like you kind of forget about some of the other stuff.
I think if this season's ending ends like remarkably well, I think the season's gonna be better off than it would have been. But if it ends poorly, it is going to be
Oof.
one of the worst seasons of the TV show. Granted, it's a great TV show, but it'll be one of the worst seasons they've had.
And they're doing prequels, right? Isn't there like couple of prequels?
There's a couple prequel series out there too. So you'd think maybe they want to set it up, but at the same time, maybe they don't care. I don't know if it's the same showrunners. I don't know if it's the same writers. I don't know any of that. I just know it's HBO.
Jay Roy says, is Yara gonna matter? I would guess not.
I say a hard no.
Hard no. Although she might still be on Dany's side. Like, is Dany gonna have time to look for anybody else to help her out, or is it still like she has the Unsullied, she has the Dothraki? But,
so another comment in the chat real quick too. Somebody said this season is all George R.R. Martin. I completely disagree. I think Daenerys is a product of George's writings just because it's been this way since the very beginning. But other than that, I think a lot of the other stuff you got from this season is stuff that was outside of what George has been writing. It's very unconventional from the storyline that he has set up to this point.
But they still communicate with him, right?
Briefly, but not really. He's like in the first few seasons, he was a producer.
Yeah.
Nowadays, he's just advised.
Now, how many seasons though have they been past the books? Because this isn't the first one.
Like 3 or 4 now.
Yeah. So people are acting like all of a sudden it's gotten shitty. It's like, well, if you liked last season at all, it's the same guys doing this.
I ultimately think it was a time constraint and they rushed it. It's not, they could have mapped this out better. They could have. I think they chose not to.
All right, Shime, you want to say anything else? Get on the record before we sign off for now?
Yeah, to all my haters out there that have been tweeting at me saying that I haven't gotten a single prediction right this season, you can go suck it. I picked who would die on episode 3 correctly. Keith was the only one that did not. So you guys can all suck it.
No, I actually, I'll still suck it, but I did pick Beric
No, you don't
Dondarrion.
have to suck it.
I picked Beric Dondarrion to die or episode 3.
Oh, did you? When you and Davey made our predictions?
Oh.
No, you picked Grey Worm, didn't you?
No, I picked Grey Worm, but then in our death pool, I had Beric.
Fair point.
So because I think Davey ended up picking Beric, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Grey Worm. I thought Grey Worm was gonna be the first. He's a survivor. I thought he was gonna be one of the first guys.
Very impressed with Grey Worm. That spear is paying off dividends.
Before we sign off, Mac wants us to take our tops off.
Pop your tops off. Mac, if this episode is amazing, I'll start the post game with my shirt off. That's how confident I am.
We will all be completely nude in the post game if this is a good episode. Just everything will be great. Yeah, so that'll do it. So thanks for tuning into this. We will be back right around 10:25, I would say. This is another 80-minute episode. I'll see what they do right after. What? Oh, Jay Roy.
Out for the boys. Jeffrey McNamara.
Davey will join us as well for the wrap-up episode, so hopefully you guys can join us there. And if you can't afterwards, I'm going to podcast this just on the hashtag Dork iTunes channel, so you guys can check that shit out there as well. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we got something great to talk about. If not, it'll still be an entertaining wrap-up show.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Shime. Thanks, everybody who's in here. We'll see you guys in less than 2 hours.
Enjoy.
Good luck.